Silkworm growth and metamorphosis. Dear students, in today's lecture, let us make an attempt to know about silkworm growth and metamorphosis. Silkworm larvae start feeding on mulberry leaves soon after hatching and grow. They usually undergo 4 moltings and reach the 5th instar, in which they feed voraciously on mulberry leaves and display a very high rate of growth. After reaching the peak growth level, they become mature larvae. A large number of silkworms were examined to determine which part grows to the maximum during this period. In terms of larval body weight, the weight of the 5th instar larvae which had attained maximum growth is about 8,000 to 10,000 times that of the freshly hatched larvae. The extent of this growth, that is weight gain, varies with the silkworm variety. Besides, it also varies with the nutrition condition, external conditions and other related factors. In terms of growth during each larval stage, it is found that the growth rate of different organs developing inside the body differs. The growth of the silk glands during 5th instar in particular greatly influence the overall rate of larval growth. The pattern of growth of different organs and tissues of the silkworms also varies. The pattern mainly represents an increase in the number of cells through cell division or cell enlargement, or a combination of the two simultaneously. Therefore, the pattern of growth is extremely complicated and a combination of the relevant conditions is expressed in the overall growth of the larva. The increase in the larval body weight is indicated for 3 strains of the silkworms. From the general trend observed, the 3 strains of silkworms, a comparison of the silkworms, a comparison of the rate of increase in the body weight from the 1st to the 5th instar shows that the rate of increase is higher in the 1st instar, and from the 2nd instar onwards there is a gradual decrease. The body weight is maximum for the larva of the European race and minimum for those of the Japanese race. The larvae of the Chinese race are heavier than those of the Japanese race. In all the races, the body weight of the female larva is higher than that of the male larvae. Related to voltinism, usually the univoltine larvae are the heaviest and the body weight becomes lighter from the bivoltine to polyvoltine silkworms. The body weight is also related to moltinism, and the trimolters are lighter than the tetramolters. The pentamolters tend to become heavier. For any particular group of silkworms, it is possible to work out a plan of rearing based on the coefficient of variation in the body weight. This coefficient for hybrid larvae having molted the second time varies according to the type of female parent. Usually, it is slightly more when the female parent is of the Chinese race than it is of the Japanese race. Besides such difference, the coefficient of variation is also influenced by the way larvae are handled, brushed and reared at the young age. When these procedures are inappropriate, the coefficient of variation is large. It is applies not only to the larvae after second molt, but even to the larvae after third or fourth molt. The coefficient of variation in the body weight should not exceed 10, otherwise the rearing of silkworms will not proceed according to schedule. Since in a living body the rate of growth in terms of body weight and length is low during the early stage, high during middle stage and again low during the late stage. Growth and cell division. It was pointed out earlier that the growth of different organs and tissues of the silkworm is of three types, in which certain groups of cells multiply while others do not, but each cell enlarges, resulting in growth in some organs and tissues. Growth occurs through the both cell division and cell enlargement simultaneously. During the larval stage, the cells of the salivary or silk glands, Malpighian tubules and molting glands do not multiply but enlarge in size. The growth of the cells through multiplication occurs in these organs during the embryonic stage. Therefore, the number of cells present in these organs in the embryo is the same as their number in the fifth larval instars. The nuclei of these cells are more or less round in young larvae, but characteristically become branched when these larvae reach an advanced stage. Another type of growth is exemplified by the hemocytes. Their size does not differ much between young larvae and the advanced stage of silkworms. However, their number increases with larval growth. In other words, the hemocytes increase in number through cell division without enlargement of cells. In the third type of growth, both cell division and cell enlargement takes place. During larval development, simultaneous with multiplication of cell growth occurs through enlargement of individual cells. Such growth is found in the epidermal cells of integument, the epithelial cells of many organs, fat body cells and the several infected organs. Compensation growth. When the side of the paired organ present in the body of a silkworm is removed, the other part that is left intact in the body grows much faster than the organ present in its original paired form. Also, when an organ is removed from the body, the growth of the another organ is accelerated as compared to its growth in the unoperated body. In other words, compensatory growth occurs quite commonly in silkworms. When one of the paired gonads present in the silkworm under the integument of the eighth body segment is removed, the other gonad acquires compensatory growth. Likewise, when one of the two silk glands is removed, the one left intact also shows compensatory growth. This phenomenon is attributed to the amount of nutrient supplied. In the case of compensatory growth of the gonads, the influence pertaining to the ovary is seen even in the next generation. However, this influence so for temporary period, and although seen in the early development stages of the next generation, it gradually disappears due to the type of genes in the silkworms of the next generation. Though the growth is accelerated due to the nutrient factor, the compensatory effect gets subsequently erased. Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a biological process by which an animal, insects, physically develops after birth or hatching, involving a conspicuous and relatively abrupt change in the animal insect's body structure through cell growth and differentiation. Some insects, fishes, amphibia, molluscans, crustaceans, crinidians, echinoderms and tunicates undergo metamorphosis, which is usually accompanied by a change of habitat or behavior. Scientific usage of the term is exclusive and is not applied to the general aspect of cell growth, including rapid growth spurts. References to the metamorphosis. In mammals, precise and only colloquial but historically idealistic ideas of the transformation and nanodology, as in Goeth's metamorphosis of plants, influence the development of the ideas of evolution. All insects in the Pterygota undergo a marked change in the form of texture and physical appearance or metamorphosis from immature to adult. These insects either have hemimetabolous development and undergo an incomplete or partial metamorphosis, or holometabolous development which undergo a complete metamorphosis including a pupal or resting stage between larval and adult forms. In hemimetabolous insects, immature stages are called nymphs. Development proceeds in repeated stages of growth and ecdysis, that is molting. These stages are called instars. The juvenile forms closely resemble adults but are smaller and block and lack adult features such as wings and genitalia. This process is known as partial or incomplete metamorphosis. The differences between nymphs in different instars are small, often just differences in body proportions and the number of segments, although external wings buds will form a later instars. In holometabolous insects, immature stages are called larvae and differ remarkably from the adults. Insects which undergo holometabolism pass through a larval stage, then enter an inactive state called pupa or chrysalis and finally emerge as adults. This process is called complete metamorphosis. It is theorized that the pupal stage is the evolutionary compaction of all the nymphal stages of their hemimetabolous ancestors, while the larval stage is an extended mobile form of the developing embryo. According to recent research, adult Manduca sexta is able to retain the behavior learned as a caterpillar. Another caterpillar, the Ornata moth caterpillar, is able to carry toxins that it acquires from its diet through metamorphosis and into adulthood, where the toxins still serve for protection against predators. Many observations have indicated that programmed cell death play a considerable role during physiological process of multicellular organisms, particularly during embryogenesis and metamorphosis. Hormonal control. Insect growth and metamorphosis are controlled by hormones synthesized by endocrine glands near the front of the body. Neurosecretory cells in an insect's brain secretes a hormone, the prothoracotropic hormone PTTH, that activates prothoracic glands, which secretes a second hormone, usually ecdysone, an ecdysteroid, that induces ecdysis. PTTH also stimulates the corpora allata, a retrocerebral organ, to produce juvenile hormone, that is JH, which prevents the development of adult characteristics during ecdysis. In holometabolous insects, molts between larval instars have a high level of JH. The molt to the pupal stage has a low level of JH, and the final or marginal molts has no JH present at all. Metamorphosis in silkworm. When the larva in the last instar matures, it starts spinning the cocoon. When the spinning is over, the larva sheds its skin and metamorphoses into pupa. During pupation, the prothoracic glands play a very important role. The corpora allata, referred to earlier, have a role in larval molting. If the corpora allata of the larva are removed during the third or fourth instar, the larva fails to molt, may further and directly transforms into pupa. It is in this pupation process that the prothoracic glands function. a pair to block the prothoracic glands on the anterior and posterior sides, thereby the flow of secretion can be disrupted. If the larva is blocked on the posterior side of the segment bearing the prothoracic glands, it is found that the pupation occurs only in the anterior and not in the posterior part of the larval body. In other words, only the part having the prothoracic glands pupates. Hence, it is clear that the material necessary for pupation is secreted by the prothoracic glands. In other experiment, when the prothoracic gland from another individual is transplanted into the posterior part of the larval body deprived of the prothoracic gland, it is found that this region also pupates. For each functioning of the prothoracic gland plays an important role in the metamorphosis of the larvae into pupae. These glands also play a definite role during metamorphosis of pupae into adults. The brain of the silkworm is also involved in the metamorphosis. Pupa, when kept at 25 degrees centigrade, transform into adults 11 to 15 days after pupation. If the brain of the pupa is extirpated soon after pupation, the adult does not emerge even after 40 days. However, if fresh brain from a normal pupa is transplanted into the deprived pupa, the adult emerges about 20 days after surgery. If the surgery is somewhat delayed and the brain is removed a few hours after pupation, the adult emerges normally. From the above, it is clear that a hormonal substance, that is brain hormone of the activation hormone necessary for emergence of the moth, is secreted by the brain. However, it should not be assumed that the brain alone is responsible for metamorphosis. The brain functions in such a way that it activates the prothoracic glands and accelerates the secretion of the prothoracic gland hormone, which initiates metamorphosis. In the silkworm pupae, the brain secretes a hormone which activates the prothoracic glands, which in turn secretes a hormone inducing the metamorphosis into the moth. From the brain of the moth, also a hormone similar to that from the brain of pupa or larva is secreted, which can play a role in metamorphosis of the pupa to the moth. The prothoracic gland hormone is also known as the molting hormone or ecdysone. This hormone can be extracted by different organic solvents and crystallized. Its molecular formula is C18H30O4. This hormone is not species specific and effective even in other insects such as houseflies. The secretion of the hormone from the brain can be prevented by exposing the insect to low temperature. In males, the hormone secretion is inhibited at 5 to 15 degrees centigrade and in female at 2 to 10 degrees centigrade. The hormone secretion ceases at 2.5 degrees centigrade in females. Oenocytes also may be considered to be involved in molting the silkworm. Aggregated of oenocytes called subspiracle glands are present in the spiracle in each segment. They are round or elliptical and their nuclei are more or less round in the young larval stage, but irregular in shape in the advanced larva. Oenocytes are present even in the adult stage and their shape and number are more or less constant as in the larval stage. Owing to a difference in the oenocytes of genetically non-molting and normal silkworms, oenocytes are considered to be associated with molting. Summary: after reaching peak growth level, they become mature larvae. In terms of larva body weight, the weight of the 5th instar larva, which had attained maximum growth, is about 8,000 to 10,000 times that of the freshly hatched larva. In terms of growth during each larval stage, it is found that the growth rate of different organs developing inside the body differs. The growth of the silk glands during 5th instar in particular greatly influences the overall rate of larval growth. In all the races, the body weight of the female larvae is higher than that of the male larvae. According to some experts, the growth rate of the silkworms can be expressed by two growth curves, but according to others, silkworms exhibit a uniform rate of growth in each instar. The growth of the cells through multiplication occurs in these organs during the embryonic stage. However, their number increases with the larval growth. In the third type of growth, both cell division and cell enlargement takes place. During the larval development, simultaneous with multiplication of cells, growth occurs through the enlargement of individual cells. Such growth is found in the epidermal cells of the integument, the epithelial cells of many organs, fat body cells and several infected organs. In hemimetabolous insects, immature stages are called nymphs. Development proceeds in repeated stage of growth and ecdysis, that is molting. These stages are called instars. In holometabolous insects, immature stage are called larvae and different remarkably from adults. Insect growth and metamorphosis are controlled by hormones synthesized by endocrine glands. For each, functioning of the prothoracic glands play an important role in the metamorphosis of larvae into pupa. These glands also play a definite role during metamorphosis of pupae to adults. In the silkworm pupae, the brain secretes a hormone which activates the prothoracic gland, which in turn secretes a hormone inducing metamorphosis into the moth. The prothoracic gland hormone is also known as the molting hormone or ecdysone. With this, we come to an end of the chapter, silkworm growth and metamorphosis. Thank you.